family that just delved into community to give back. And so that's really my background. I was raised in a two-family house where my grandmother owned the house, stayed downstairs, and my mother and my sisters and I stayed upstairs. So we've always delved into community. We get that from my grandmother, and we carry that on to traditionally to give back and help those that don't have a voice, that maybe don't have the means, and to give them the show how if they're ready to, go on that next journey in their life. So just really, nothing huge. My father is from Sierra Leone, mother is American, so I have deep roots in Africa and lots of family there. And so yeah, I again am the second oldest of my sisters, and so yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Awesome. So how would you say balance in terms of both as a nurturer, as a mom, right?
Yes,
And as a
yes.
leader in your business? How do
Mhm.
you balance the two?
It's a lot of meditation, a lot of, you know, really working to center myself. And I have to do that through meditation because it can get hectic trying to balance, raising children and a family, and then, also leading and running my business to grow and then giving back to the community at the same time. So for me, that is meditation. For me, that's taking, if I only have 5 minutes to take, for me to clear my mind, to reset and redirect. Those are some of the things that I do.
Oh,
I
you on
can't hear
mute?
you.
You on mute, Jerry? You muted yourself.
Oh, my bad, my bad. So last question for they take
Yes.
off because they gonna hit you with some, right? What advice would you give a single mother trying to build wealth and raising their family?
Man, so coming into this community, coming into uh, Renata's, the education part, and then my real estate community, you gotta find people who are in alignment with what you want to do. And the first thing for me was believing. Set aside your own personal doubts, set aside the doubts that people have for your own goals. You got to push that to the side, and you got to redirect your frame of mind and shift that paradigm. And so that is the hugest thing that I can offer to any mother, single or married, is to believe, because the only way you don't achieve it is if you don't believe it.
That's right. You gotta
You
believe to
gotta believe
achieve.
it. Yes.
It start with that. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's talk about what's like your background, what you've been doing as far as work wise for the last few years. Let's start there.
Yeah, so I've been in the real estate professional industry for 20 plus years. Just started off in customer service and worked my way up to kind of the real estate behind the scenes. And then over a year ago, I shifted to wanting to become more of an entrepreneur. I believe that it's important to have your own, and for me personally to share with my children as well as my other relatives and friends, that you have the power to be in a position to be a leader of you, whatever it is that you're trying to create. So for me, for the past 20 plus years and then some, I've always worked for somebody, and I looked at those chains and those leadership rooms and chairman rooms, and I wanted to have my own room. So I had to create something, and so I had to shift my mindset to understand where that started. And it started within me first. I had to believe it. And then the opportunity came along for me to be introduced through another platform to an individual who allowed me to get in here, which was Reese Bill. But yeah, so that's what I was doing prior to getting involved in real estate investing.
All right, great. Thank you for sharing that with people.
Yes.
So what was like some of your struggles before real estate? What were you initially going through that kind of
Mhm.
made you want to start looking towards this real estate investing thing? Because you're already, like you said, in mortgages and finances, but then
Right.
like transitioning over to investing, what challenges were you going through to make you start looking that way?
So, some of those challenges a couple of years ago, I had a huge financial setback due to a transitional things that happen within the family dynamics that I'm in. And so with that financial setback and that crisis happening, it made me reevaluate a lot of things. And I had to take control for myself, what it is that I wanted for myself. And I had, again, to really dissolve the doubts that people create for your own goals. I had to dissolve that. I had to look back at me and really believe in what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. And I got tired of the grind of the, working paycheck to paycheck. And then, when you are in a position where someone else's income kind of dictates, the flow of things, and then all of a sudden something happens, it causes a domino effect. And I needed to be in a position where I took back control of what it is and how I wanted things to progress for me. So those were the challenges that I was having prior to getting involved in real estate investing, is that I wanted to secure my future. I wanted to have something that I had the education for, I had the knowledge for, and that I can act on it. So, with that being said, I started getting involved in a lot of financial groups on Facebook, a lot of credit groups to start looking at how credit works. I already had a lot of knowledge, but I wanted to get around people who were and was wanting to do the same things that I wanted to do. And I think that was the hugest shift, is that I had to change the environment of people who I was around, because the people who I were around were not aligned with where I was trying to go. So those are a couple of the things that I did.
Mm, very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice. So you seem like you were already preparing yourself to get to this point, which is beautiful. So with that said,
yeah.
so being in real estate, like you said, 20 plus years prior, what were you doing and how did that kind of mesh with what you're doing today? Um, were there any things that you learned prior that is helping you get into this, or how did that work for you?
So a lot of me being in the professional industry, a lot of terminology. So I was clear on a lot of terminology, because those are words that I was used to seeing, documents, different documents that transfer over into the real estate investing world, such as, title and, deed of trust and the note. So I knew what all of those things were, escrow. I knew what all those things were. So that helped to make my transition into real estate investing a lot easier, because I had awareness of what those terminologies meant. I just needed to connect the pieces. And so getting involved in real estate investing and getting the education allowed me to now connect the pieces on that other end, because again, I'm on the operation side. I'm on that side where once everything is signed and all of that, I'm just kind of going over the detail stuff and making sure it's good. So what the hang up for me was understanding how the pieces connected when it came to investing and what those different strategies were, because you don't know those different strategies when you're dealing with residential mortgages. You don't know the different strategies an investor uses to go into a deal and exit out of a deal. So those things for me, I think the biggest thing for me that helped me was the terminology.
Mm. That
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, so you did
yeah,
have that upper hand. So going into
exactly.
this, you did have that. At least you have that. A lot of
Hmm.
people that come into the community, they're pretty much green and just
Right.
know kind of what they heard or what they're kind of searching online and things of that nature. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is definitely the upper hand.
yeah,
So with that
yeah.
said, I believe you did maybe one of your first deals with someone in the community.
I
Could you
did.
yeah,
I
nice.
did.
Congratulations. How did that go for you? How was that experience?
Yeah, so I got with one of our real estate members, senior veteran investor, Joe, and really, really gained a lot of knowledge. His mentorship was huge for me. So the strategy that I have entered in, that I'm starting off with, is the wholesaling strategy. And so I partnered up with Joe. He actually had a building in Cleveland, my hometown, in a neighborhood where I practically grew up around. And so to go and help him with that building was surreal. Like, I'm sure it was a multi-use building. It was a store at one point with apartments at the top. And I'm sure at some point I've walked past that store when I was a kid or a young adult. So to actually go into a building that was vacant for a very long time, very distressed, to go into something like that that I knew operated, that had, products and stuff in there, was surreal. Like it sent chills up my spine. And to actually help to sell that building that is going to give back to the community that I grew up in, that's invaluable. That's invaluable. Like, so yes, it was wonderful. Absolutely, not just the learning part of it, but to go back into my community and absolutely help out with a building that hopefully will shift, and because that community is being revitalized, so help to shift some things over there.
That is so powerful. I just want to kind of like highlight the fact that most of us real estate investing thinking that I'm not going to get started because I don't have the credit or I don't
Hmm.
have the actual money,
Hmm.
right? But as you just explained in your story, your resource to helping Joe out was just being there, being present,
Yes, yes,
right? And although
yes,
you do have a little bit of knowledge in the real estate field in the industry, right? It wasn't the investing side of it.
right.
So it sounds like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the value that you traded with Joe was your time and
Yes,
your knowledge, right?
yes,
So
absolutely.
so you actually traded your time and your knowledge to get inside of a wholesale deal and close that wholesale deal with teaming up with the community member. I mean, y'all,
Absolutely.
like, I really
Absolutely.
think y'all heard how valuable that was. Because we all have this misconception of, hey, I need to have a whole big bank account full of money to go out
Yep.
and do some real estate. That just
Yes.
isn't true, right?
It is. It
Shout
is.
out to you, Fatmata,
Yes.
for
Thank you.
bringing that point out, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much. And the thing about it is that that's what if I could offer anything else as well, is that you got to invest in yourself. And sometimes that investment, that investment is not just the dollar, the physical dollar. That investment is actually within you getting the education and teaming up with the right people who are doing what you want to do. And when I say that value is beyond what anybody can think of, it really is. It really is. I was honored to be able to do that with Joe.
The support, I love that. I
Yes.
I say that all the
Yes.
time. The
Support.
education is phenomenal. It is the way to go, right?
Hmm.
When you get stuck and you don't have anyone to call, like that's what makes this community like hands down like the best
Hmm.
year around, right?
And that's what it is. Like, to have that support where I can reach out to you guys or Joe or Jason and a lot of the other ones. I didn't have that over a year ago. I didn't know where to go. So to have that support, listen, you can't beat it. You cannot beat it.
Hey, I kind of want to ask you about because I know you heavily spiritual, right? And
Yes.
so how do you bring your real estate, your strategy and your spirituality in alignment with your real estate journey? How does those connect?
Wow. So I'll use the example of the deal that I worked with Joe on. I mean, that was a hard deal. That building was really, we had people, we didn't have people. And the real estate game is, I'm gonna keep it real, it's not easy. If you stay in it, you can do it. And so for me, spirituality comes in because I know that I got to find the balance. I can't take anything personal, and that I rely on the higher being to direct me. So anytime I, got weary or I wanted to give up, because there was many times I wanted to give up on that building. Joe had already had it a year. And so it was a lot longer once I came into it to push that building. But what's for you is for you. And I think when you're in real estate investing, you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. But you also got to know, am I giving up because it's too hard? Or am I giving up because or if am I doing something differently or shifting because there's a need to. So it's not about necessarily giving up. Sometimes you just got to pivot and you got to look at your situation and use discernment. And so for me, that discernment is my spiritual part.
Love it. Love it. So, like, who are some of your like heroes or pivotal people in your life growing up?
Oh my goodness. My grandmother, just watching her come from the South and invest. She was like the first investor I knew, like buying her own property and buying other properties, not just one, but other properties. And, when you look at short-term rental or STR, she was one of the ones that did that back in that time, which was the boarding rooms, where she would help people from the South that came up north that needed places to stay because they were trying to reestablish themselves in the North. So looking at that, because that's investing, right? They gave her a little something, and then once they got on their feet, they were able to shift. So she's a huge part of my journey, and watching her do what she do and still give back to her community as well as her religious affiliation at that time. My mom, who again is a single mom who raised us to, always strive for the best, do our best no matter what it was. And that's where I get a lot of my work ethic from. And sometimes I got to offer myself grace because I go so hard that when I don't see the results or I don't see something that I want immediately, it's like I don't give myself that grace. So I got to really, that's one of those things that I have to find balance on, is offering myself grace. Another person is Malcolm X. Like, to see what he has done, what he did, and what he continues to do. That was one of the most monumental books that I could ever read that shifted my mindset as a young child and adult. And even today, looking back on some of the things that he did and how pivotal they are, he's huge in my life, huge. And I give honor to him. I try to give honor to him daily, as all of them I do. So yes.
Thank you for saying that. I love it. I got excited when you said Malcolm X. Is he number one?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love it. And I know in your faith, you got the Muslim faith too, as well as Malcolm X.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
Got it.
Absolutely.
So, like Jerry mentioned support, and then I know you went to school, got some psychology background, but also you
Mhm.
get into life coaching, or that's what you're doing, right? Tell us
Yes.
how you got involved in that, and why you have a passion to help other women, and what's that about?
Yes. Yes. So, I grew up watching a single mom, watching all of these strong, resilient Black women. And back then, life coaching wasn't as huge back then. Support, like Jerry mentioned, wasn't for Black women wasn't as huge back then. And so they had to just do what they needed to do. But at the same time, I saw a lot of suffering. And so in a lot of that suffering, I wanted to be able to create a safe space for women such as my mother, my grandmother, who wasn't single, but just was a woman of leadership. And so I wanted to create this space for women, whether that's a single mother, whether that's a married mother, but women who are trying to find their authentic selves, because so many times women get caught up in mothering, being a wife, a caretaker, or in a career that maybe they didn't really want, but they're stuck in it and they don't know how to pivot. So for me, it's creating a safe space for women to tap into who they are authentically and to do that work to find out where it is they truly want to be. And I think that's huge, when we talk about, because of course, we got the man and the woman. The woman she's the spearhead. She's the one that keeps everything going. She's that neck. So it's important that we pour back into her, so that we can continue to flourish in this world.
I miss my grandmama too.
Me too. Me too.
All right, nice, very much so. I am in the same boat as y'all as well. I miss my grandmama. 100%. Okay, so
Yes.
with that said, so being a mother of six,
Yes.
right? All right.
Yes.
Do you plan to incorporate your children also into real estate, or use real estate as a tool to help them? And I'm sorry, I'm unaware of their ages, but
Yes,
I'm sure working with them and just building, because I'm sure they're watching you. So how
they're
would you
watching.
incorporate that?
I do. Like, when we're riding around, we're looking at houses, we're looking at distressed homes. And I'm like, listen, they're going good ones. So I have a 13-year-old. She's a lot of times with me. I have three older ones, two adults. So they're 28 and 22. And then I have a 17-year-old. But for the youngest three who are always with me, they're always seeing me work. I'm always looking for an opportunity. So I'm like, look at this house. Like, this is what you look for. So because they have a little bit more than what I had back then when I was coming up, my mother said, get an education, go to college, and get a job. They didn't really know entrepreneurship as we know it today. So I'm able to shift my children's mindsets to understand something different that I didn't understand totally until I got older. So yes, they are involved. They look at houses. My daughter is always, she'll catch one sometimes before I see it. So yes,
Mm,
the younger ones are more involved. The older ones, I'm always educating them on different ways, whether it's real estate or whether it's something else that they have a passion for. Because one of the biggest things that we have to be aware of is that we have to direct our children in what their passions are. And they can turn their
mhm.
passions into leadership and entrepreneurship for themselves. So it may not be real estate for them. This is what I love. I love real estate. I love being able to do something that I can still be able to help somebody. So they do have other passions, but they also see the gems in real estate. So they'll come through how they come through based on what they have a passion for.
Right, exactly, exactly. Just having that little guide with them as well, and it's always important. It's always important.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
absolutely. Okay, so if you had to summarize your journey in one sentence about turning setbacks into wealth, title of this podcast,
Yes.
what would that be for you?
Repeat your question again for me. If I had to,
If you had to summarize your journey in one
mhm,
sentence about turning setbacks into wealth, what would that be for you?
belief,
Mm,
reinvest in you. And
mm,
investing in you requires sometimes that you got to go out here, you got to get educated, you got to get with people who are in alignment with what you're doing, but you got to believe that you can do it. And you got to believe to a point where it's already happening. You're just taking the action steps to get there. It's already happening. Because if you don't believe it, you can get all the education and support you need. But if you are not passionate and you have that belief in yourself to do whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you're not going to do it because setbacks honestly is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to see
mm,
something different. It's an opportunity to shift your perspective. I could have come from what I've come through for the past 2 years. I could have easily said that, this is not it, but to give up, what does that mean? That means that I've missed the boat on an opportunity. So I'm always in a mindset of what am I to learn from this? And
mm,
fortunately, I had the mindset to say, I got to shift who I'm with and what I'm doing.
mm. Beautiful.
Nice.
Well said. I love it. And setbacks is an opportunity. I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
yes,
Hey,
Thank
yes,
you
yo, I
very
know
much
y'all.
for that. Belief and investing in you. All
yes.
right. Very strong words. Thank you, sister. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Hey, I know y'all got questions, so y'all can pop them in the chat, and I'll make sure they get asked. Right. So if you got something on Facebook, a couple people on Facebook, if y'all got something popping in the chat, or here inside of the Zoom, pop it in the chat. So I want to ask this Ohio lady, right?
Ohio.
Ohio in the house, y'all. So like I know your heritage and your background, everything you come from. I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think your children have? What have your children taught you? Like,
Goodness. Woo, that's huge. what they've taught me is they teach me so much. They teach me so much about resilience. They teach me how to keep going. Because if you notice, like children don't stop. They don't stop. And when they want something, they're gonna get it. And a huge example for that is my 13-year-old. I don't, she'll ask for something, and in my head, I done made up my mind. But she has it in her mind that I'm going to get what I want. And just looking at her, and knowing what my mindset is, that I'm not trying to get whatever she is looking for, and somehow she still gets it, lets me know that it's about a mindset. You're going to figure it out. You're not going to let anybody tell you no. And the only way that you are not going to achieve something is if it's just not right in an alignment with what it is that you're trying to do. And so for my children, they show up every day to be themselves. And I absolutely love it, because that's something I struggle with so hard, is being me. Because being coming up in the inner city, having different features, which is my African features, that was something that wasn't seen in my community. So I got made fun of, I got roasted. So part of me really accepting my African heritage, my background, was huge, was hard for me. So, but my children, they stand in who they are. They stand up on anything that comes at them. They challenge it if it doesn't sit right with them. And so for me, I've learned to stand on who I am. And if it does not sit right, I challenge it. And so they continue to teach me that. That's huge.
Nice. That's awesome. I see your sister in the house. Is she telling us the truth, sister? Right. What's the biggest myth about real estate that you had debunked? Like, oh my God, I thought this. Man,
Hmm. Hmm.
what
Hmm.
was that biggest myth?
That you got to be rich. You got to be rich.
Mm.
You got to have money. I honestly thought in the beginnings, real estate is not for Black people. Real estate is only for the people that came with the silver spoon in their mouth. That wasn't something that was attainable for us that grew up in the inner city, coming from a single mom. Like that was something that you're not doing that. You're not buying land. You're not buying property. You're not investing and, renting out to other people. Like that wasn't something that I just thought. The only thing I saw was my grandmother having a house, but to real estate, like land, having property, like big time property, nah. But it's attainable, and we can have it.
I was just going to
Absolutely.
ask you that follow-up question of what excites you most about the vehicle of real estate to build wealth.
To be honest with you, Jerry, like when I had this financial setback in my life, I was like, what you worried about? First of all, I'm a believer. And second of all, I got education that I didn't even have 2 years ago. And me having
Ah,
that education, I was like, I'm good. Like, you're good. You have some education and you can continue to learn. And as long as I'm open to learning, I'm always going to grow. The moment that you stop being open to learning is the moment that you're dead. And so you got to be open to learning in order for growth to continue. So I know that I'll continue to grow because I'm open to learning and I have access to the education.
fire. And
This
you
is
get to
a
come to
sermon
Houston.
today. You put on a sermon, but
Oh
you
boy.
preaching today. So let's talk about some of your classes then. Maybe we'll bring those up, and then you can let us know what made you choose these three classes as the classes that you feel made the biggest difference in your
For
life.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, you could just shortly, briefly, just explain each one and what they done for you.
So negotiations, I gotta, and I'm gonna do negotiations again. In our community, we got a good negotiator. I don't know if a lot of people know Jason, but I even took his training as well. I didn't have a voice years ago, and so negotiations allowed me to have a voice because it's an art to it. And so understanding the art of negotiations, you can almost get anything. You just got to know the art of it. So that was huge for me, understanding like, where people sit, how to ask calculated questions, the type of questions you ask them. open-ended questions, the different colors can show whether you in a position of authority or laid back. Those different type of techniques and different skill sets is so huge, and it's not just huge for real estate, it's huge for life negotiations, because you're going to need it. The other thing, creative acquisitions. I didn't know that there was that many different strategies. Man, like I'm like, wait, you can do this? You could do seller finance. Wait, you don't have to go through a bank. You can go through the homeowner that owns the home and they can act as the bank and I can make money. Like that's huge, huge. And if people had access to this information, like what can you not do? What can you not do? Real estate red flags, you gotta have that because you gotta know what you're stepping into. You gotta know the nuances of real estate investing and what comes with it. So you can't come in and thinking it's all rosy. You gotta come into it knowing that there's gonna be these little hiccups, maybe big hiccups. You gotta know what those red flags are, how to pivot, how to adjust so that you can make the most and get the most out of whatever strategy you're using. So these classes are huge. Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well said, well said. You should have seen Jerry. He was so excited every word. He was hanging on to it.
You love Renata.
You love, yeah, because man, the education is super duper
It is.
important.
It
Yeah.
is.
So,
Yes.
I think you said something like, "What can't you do?" Or something you said. I was like, "Whoa,
What can't
what
you
can't
do?
you
Like
do?"
seriously. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was huge. I do want you to mention about one of your missions and what do you want to do as far as your hometown? Like, what do you see yourself like helping out there as far as like the country?
The culture. So I came from the inner city of Cleveland. I didn't grow up in the suburbs or anything like that. So and typically when we make it, a lot of us you go out to the suburbs. We don't go back to our communities to help out. And what I found out, helping Joe wholesale that building in the inner city, I was showing some relatives, and I had one relative to say, why would anybody want to buy this building? Why would anybody want to go back there and do that? And I'm like, you just don't understand the gold mine of this. And really, that just comes from lack of awareness and lack of education, right? Because you go in there and you do things, and there were so many different things that you could do with that property because it was multi-use. So for me, it's about revitalizing our communities and getting our people to understand the wealth that's still there and how to obtain it and how to succeed with it. So for me, I want to go back to our communities. I want to educate because again, education is important. And how do we build back up our communities so that we have vital things here, great grocery stores, health and wealth, and where our kids can walk down the street and feel safe, so our elders can walk down the street and feel safe, that they have an opportunity if they need something, it's right there within the community and they don't have to travel 20 minutes away. A huge initiative of mine is that I don't think anybody should be without a home. It's an essential need, it's a hierarchy of one of our needs. And I don't want to see mothers or fathers or children be without a home. So going back into our communities, buying these homes and making it affordable for people to live in, and also creating homes that if people can't afford a full home, that we're creating homes that we can offer rooms that when you're in your transitional phase, that you have a room that you can rent out with your children, with the, if you have children, if it's just you, but more like a group home, creating those homes because things have shifted in today's economy. And again, people still need a roof over their head. So that's one of the hugest things that I want to do.
So fire, so fire. Bobby about to go off and show you guys how you can, if you just think that being in this environment, you might learn a little something, a thing or
Mhm.
two, right?
Mhm.
So Bobby gonna take us through, hey, why not hang out with us, right?
Why not?
Why not hang out with us? Yo, make some noise for Fatmata. She is bringing you the juice, ladies and gentlemen. 100% respect. All right, check us out. You know what it is. Every Sunday, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. You want to be right here on the Juice Show. All right. Cool. Next, coming up, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern. We got our man, Real Estate Jay, out in the D, about to show you the introduction, how to get into real estate investing and what the classes entail and everything that you need to know to get started. All right. Make the call, secure the deal, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern. Cold calling marathon with our very own, the great James Gavin. Make sure you get on there for the cause. All right. Then we got the Wholesaling Elite Club with the homeboy, Mr. James Gavin himself. Once you come off mute and let us know what this is all about, bro.
All right, thank you, Bobby. So I had put together this group for those who want to strictly do the wholesaling strategy, whether you're brand new or you've been doing it for a long time. We have a platform where we're going to share resources, tools. We're going to connect. We're going to do some cold calling, right? And we're going to try to push towards closing more deals and doing it together. So I created that for you guys as a special bonus. And look forward to seeing those who interested strictly in the wholesaling strategy. They are joining us and appreciate it.
Nice. All right, everybody in the wholesaling team, make sure you holler at the great James Gavin. He's going to break it down for you. All right, today, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, we have the Real Estate Mastermind. If you got a lead, come get your deals analyzed right here with a group of investors that's in the community that's willing to help you. All right, on Facebook, if you are on Facebook, come check us out. Our show, our page, the Juice Show podcast page. Make sure you like, follow, leave a review. If you came in late or if you'd like to see some past podcasts, this is where to do it right here. All right. We got deals of the community, community. Hey,
Community.
if you want to see your name in bright lights, come right here where we can celebrate each and every one of you that is taking action, doing the do, and making sure it all happens in real estate investing. This is where we put your name up in bright lights and shine. And we just like to celebrate the people. And keep in mind, this is just a small percentage of the people, that we have the privilege of having on the show and them sharing their deals and letting us know what they are doing. So that is what's going on, everybody. If there's any questions, let's get to them.
Yeah, we got a few on Facebook. I guess we could start there, then, and then we'll bring. All right, so the first one I see is, let's go back. So I want to catch this first one. How long did it take you to complete your first deal? By Emmanuel Gavin.
How long? So I started in the community in April. I believe the wholesale deal, goodness, it closed almost a year later. Almost a year later since I started the education and got and became part of the community. So about a year.
Wow.
Okay, got you. And then he says that he had the 13-year-old, trying to bring it back up because the chat disappears sometimes on Facebook. All right, but anyway, he's saying he had a 13-year-old. How could you make the learning process fun and exciting for them?
Oh my goodness. So just really, giving them not hard terminology, what does a distressed house look like? Kind of just showing them and having them point it out if they see one. Who can point out one faster just when you're riding around in the car? What does that look like? So just those simple things. It's nothing really that has to be hard. I look at houses online showing my children you should, they're like, well, what are you looking at? They're asking questions. The thing is that when you're modeling those behaviors, their children instantly gravitate to that. They want to know, they want to see what's going on. So I don't really necessarily have to necessarily always bring them. They see it and so they want to be a part of it because that they know that that's what I'm passionate about. And so they engage and they engage from where they at. And that's where I take it from. I engage them based on where they come to me at. So I would just say keep it light, keep it fun. And eventually it'll get deeper where they are asking more questions and then you can go further with it. But get your, if 13, get your children. I'm always, we have to have our children involved in financial education. Get them involved in some type of financial education activity. Me and my children, we look at budgets. We look at what a budget looks like, what goals are they trying to accomplish and how are they going to get to those goals? So those are a lot of things that, we address when we're talking about finances and wealth and real estate.
All right. I guess now what we'll do is we'll bring it here and see, LaShawn, do we got any questions here? You want
Yeah,
to
we
read those
do.
out?
Don't want to leave anyone out. So if your question hasn't already been asked, please go ahead and put it in the chat. Jackie Kip says, "Congratulations. What's next for you as you expand your real estate journey?"
Thank you, Jackie. My next steps is to continue wholesaling. I have some things in the pipeline right now that I'm working on, and to build my capital. Eventually, so this is bigger than real estate for me, guys. And honestly, it's bigger than Ohio. Again, my roots are from Africa, and there's a lot of economic impoverishment over in the country that my dad is from, which is Sierra Leone. So my plan is to actually take real estate internationally and in some ways try to build homes over there for those that are lacking homes, to build schools, because there's a lack in education and supplies and different things over there. So really, honestly, to gain capital, as much capital as I can through this strategy wholesaling. I would definitely love to do some buy and holds in Cleveland, Ohio, my hometown, just because it's my hometown. Not that I am just, settling just on Cleveland, but eventually I would love to broaden out and do some other things. Maybe a fixer flip, maybe one. And but again, I do want to go international and really help those that are in need as well in my dad's country.
All right. We have a question from Alvin saying he wonders if playing the cash flow game would be a good way to get a 13-year-old a fun introduction to real estate investing.
Absolutely. I agree. I was going to mention cash flow or even Monopoly. That's the old school one. Monopoly is huge. Monopoly itself, that's real estate. So yes, definitely. Those are some wonderful games to play with your children.
Absolutely. Another thing that we have, another person, Taritha says, are there any other influences or resources like podcasts or things you study for personal development or spiritual growth?
Yeah, I love that question. Yes, a huge person who I listen to is Bob Proctor. Love him, love him, love him. I didn't know about Bob Proctor until a year ago. And I have listened to probably three of his different books or audios because he's old school. His son, Bob, is also coming up. I've listened to a lot of his stuff. So I do a lot of self-help and self-development things. Um, Meditation is something that I implement on. It's not daily, but even if it's just me just escaping just the thoughts and just sitting there and listening to my body. Those are a lot of things that I do as well. Some other people is I can't think of his name right now. He's another spiritual, I don't want to say guru, but he's really good. He actually wrote the book Now. I can't think of his name, but he is, if my sister can come off, I think she'll know, but he wrote the book Now, and Now is just really staying in the present moment. It's really staying in an awareness. And so for me, and I think for a lot of people that sometimes dive back into the past, or we don't stay in awareness of what's taking place now. So that's actually a good book, The Now. And I can't think of the author's name, but yeah, those are a couple of the things that I like listening to. But Bob Proctor is huge. I still listen to him. One of the biggest ones is, I believe it's called We're Born Rich. And The Science of Money is a good one too. That's a good one.
She's dropping the gems and the knowledge and
Yes.
education. Grab them.
Yes. Eckhart Tolle is that my mom's on. I didn't see my mother. My mother is on. Yes, Eckhart Tolle is a huge one. He wrote the book Now. So yes, if you guys are looking for some self-development, self-help, those are some great people to listen to.
Good job, Mom. Good job, Mom.
Another question we have is from Jerry. What's your favorite way to celebrate a win, big or small?
I don't celebrate them enough, Jerry. And that's one of the things that I'm working on is I'm a very I pride myself on humility. And I think that you can be humble and still celebrate your win. That's what I'm learning. I'm in the process of learning that. Um, I think for me, I celebrate wins through reflection because I never want to get too caught up for me personally, and I always want to give praise to the Almighty, because it don't come from me, it comes from Him, and I'm just an extension of what He's put me here to do. So that's one of the ways. It's just reflection and humility and acknowledgement and being grateful, being in gratitude.
All right, cut it out. Now I threw you the alley oop. You were supposed to say every Friday I celebrate my wins over here and
Oh,
out
that's right.
here.
That's true. That's true. We
We
got our community
celebrate.
where we celebrate our wins, and I never really say my wins, and even in the community. But yes, we do have a community every Friday. We celebrate wins. You're right.
Show.
Yes.
Another question that Jerry has is what daily rituals keep you grounded and focused?
Jerry, stay out the chat.
Daily rituals that keep me grounded. Prayer. But as a Muslim, we pray 5 times a day. I have to stay connected to the source that gives me the existence. Again, meditation. Taking time out with my children. I like grounding, so I like just going out and put my feet to the ground because that's where our energy comes from. And sometimes we miss that by, you know, the daily rigorous running and all of that. So we gotta give praise back to whatever you call him, whatever you see it as, we gotta give praise and gratitude back to those things. And so that's a lot of what keeps me grounded and in balance is just making sure that I'm acknowledging the creator.
So juicy, so juicy. I just got one more. Just one more. One more.
One more. All right.
One more. One more. If somebody shadowed you around for a day, what
Whew.
would surprise them?
What would surprise them? I'm a comedian. Like some people will probably because I'm really a laid back person. But with my children, oh man, I even with my mom and my sisters, I think they were kind of shocked that I'm hilarious. But yeah, I'm a comedian. I can, joke and prank and I grew up in a household with a grandmother and my mom being an extension of my grandmother, her daughter. They didn't do pranks. They wasn't into all of that. They were church going people. And so you didn't do pranks and jokes and all of that stuff. So that I have fun doing with my children because I didn't grow up with that a lot. So yeah.
Nice. This was so awesome to have Fatmata on all the way from Ohio. Appreciate
Yes.
you bringing your family on, your
Thank
mom, your
you. Thank
sister.
you.
Mom and sister, we got a community. Y'all can hang out with us too. So get with Fatmata. We want y'all to
Yeah.
hang out with us too. So I just
Yeah.
want to say thank you, Fatmata, for coming on, sharing your story of resilience, not
Thank you.
using your children and the hard times and the past and all the negativity stuff slow you
Yes.
down, right?
Yes. Yes.
Finding this community, finding people to help push you, right? I'm so proud of you. Keep
Thank
doing what
you.
you're doing. Keep
Thank you.
inspiring people, right? And keep
Thank
telling
you.
your story because it's powerful and people will resonate with your story. So
I
thank you for coming
appreciate
on.
it. I humbly appreciate it.
Yo,
Thank you. Thank you.
Famata. Oh my goodness. So I am glad that Jerry never gave up in getting
Yeah,
you
that's the
on here.
story. That's the story. And let y'all, like, I've been putting Jerry off. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. And life kept happening. I was like, all right, Jerry, I promise we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. So yes, thank you. Thank you. This team brings out the best in you. If you want to get with a community that is going to bring out the best in you, listen, these are the people that you want to be around because they don't play about me, they don't play about each other. And the fact that we don't play about each other and we want to see success and we want to see the best pulled out of each other, listen, they will always be my family.
I just remember when you said you wanted to get out of your comfort zone and you wanted to just go for it and do this because you were like, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
I
I was
can
fighting.
honestly,
I was like,
I can honestly say, and everybody on here could probably honestly say, what? You were afraid and out of your comfort zone, you knocked it out of the park today. I
oh
mean,
my
you were
God,
dropping
thank you.
gems and
Thank
just,
you. Thank you.
I don't know if you've
Thank
been
you.
seeing the chat, but heart emojis and gems
Appreciate
and
it. Appreciate
fires
it. Thank you.
and
Thank
just
you.
saying the things that you're saying. We need more of that. We need more of us and having our own community and supporting our own. If no
Yes,
one's going to do it for us, do it for ourselves.
that's
So there's
right.
been a lot of that. And to see mom and sister, oh my goodness, talk
Yes.
about support. I mean, my
Yes.
gosh,
Thank
I'm
you.
glad
Thank you.
to have met your story because you are quiet. You are definitely a
I
quiet
am.
one.
Yes,
So
I
this
am.
is
I
so
am.
this is a way for me to have gotten to know you more, just because we don't get the opportunity to during the week because people are so busy. So
Right.
I'm so glad that you decided to do it and that you
Thank
just
you.
went for it. And so now
Thank
you can
you.
cross this off your list. So we have to have you back to find
I
out what is
can.
she up to next.
Listen, to be continued. The journey continues. And
That's
I'm
right.
ready. I will definitely come back because I promise y'all, I'm not giving up. And it's more to come.
You've heard it here. She definitely wants to come back. So I am glad. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
So
you.
Famata, you brought perspective today. You dropped tons of jewels. You brought mindset. You shared a little bit about your family and shared the family with us. Like today was very, very impactful. And if how can somebody reach out to you if they want the life coaching or any of your service or just hang maybe talk
Hang
to
out.
you, see a friend
Yeah,
and they
absolutely.
can we put your
Absolutely.
stuff in the chat that way people can
Yep.
access you? Is that all
I
right?
will put I'll put my number and my email, and anyone wanting to reach out, please do. Don't hesitate. I may not pick up right away, but you can definitely leave me a message, a text message, or you can send me an email.
Awesome. Thank you
Yes.
for doing that and opening yourself up to others. So thank you so much. I mean,
Thank you.
I love this.
Thank
I
you.
got a lot of clips I can pull out of this show. It's just phenomenal. It
Wonderful.
was great. Love your energy, your spirit that
Thank
you
you.
brought today. Like
Yes.
I'm excited. I got to watch this show again over and over. So
Yeah. You
appreciate
guys,
having you.
it's been a pleasure, and honestly, this was out of my comfort zone to even see my face on the posters and the stuff that y'all was. I was like, oh my God, can they take that down already? But you know, when you gotta, my sister always say, the one that's in this chat right now, she said you gotta play big because God put you here to do bigger things. So you can't play small. So here I am.
Hey, Bobby, before you jump in there, I just wanted to add one more thing because Famata said that it brought tears to her eyes.
Yeah.
The beginning part of it was a collaboration between Taretha, who is behind the scenes majority of the
Wow.
time, and
Thank you.
myself.
Thank
Taretha's the
you.
one that does the story.
Wow.
And so, yeah, that has been a new addition.
I need that story, Teresa. That was powerful. Like I was like, who came into my life and read what's been occurring here? So
That
that was
was
powerful. That was huge. I appreciate that so much.
I'll definitely make sure you get that as well as she'll
Thank
probably
you.
send it to you now, but that was Teresa. And then,
Thank
like I
you.
said,
Thank you.
in regards to the bio, is myself. So it's a collaboration behind the scenes of all of us. But
Thank you.
we definitely enjoy doing this, and we're so glad we finally got you on here. So, all right,
Thank you.
Bobby.
All right, Fatma, thank you very much. It
Yes.
was very touching, very inspiring, and I'm glad that we got to know more of you. This is what the whole Jew show is about, is just sharing your story and just building with one another and just staying
Hmm.
connected because that's what we truly have to do. And that's what
Hmm.
we bring this podcast for, the talks and communications you wish you had at the dinner table, and
Hmm.
just continue building and connecting and
Yes.
sharing because that's what
Yes.
we're here to do for the experience and for growth. So we want to thank you for spending your time with the Jew Show. We really appreciate you. We look forward to having you back. And for everybody else, you have
You have
been
been
Jew.
Thank you.
juice. Juice
All
by
right.
Fatmata.
I'm about to
Thank
copyright
you.
that, so it can't be taken nowhere else. Every time somebody else say it, I get paid. So we're gonna make it
Yes.
happen.
All right.
Yes. Thank you guys. I appreciate you all.
Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you
You
next
all too.
weekend. Take
All
care.
righty.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.
All right.